Hello, everybody, and welcome. How are you today?
Hello, everyone. How are you? Hey, Kelly, what's up?
Yeah, it's good to see you. It's good to be with you. Or some of us, maybe you're just listening. It's good to hear you, right? If you're not seeing us, you're hearing us. I'm not sure, but welcome, everybody. It's great to be here. Every week, we come in and Dr. Heidi and I bring you guys some really fun, actionable steps of how you can truly improve your health. Sometimes are very actionable, simple things. Maybe sometimes are a little bit longer, more educational. Today's going to be a little more educational, but we want to give you sometimes the why behind things, because you hear all the stuff, you read podcasts, we listen, our friends, our neighbors, we're having coffee. Oh, did you do this? And you really either don't know why, or you don't know, like, is that legit?
Exactly. Oh, it sounds good.
Yeah, sounds good. I'll try it.
I'll
try it. Wait, but where did that recommendation just come from?
Exactly. I just had a client in yesterday saying, "Oh, I was taking this supplement." I said, "Oh, what brand was it?" Well, I don't know. It was from one of those podcast people. I was like, "No." No. You talk to me first. That's what I'm looking out for you for.
Right? Oh God. It is funny how quickly people just take advice from anybody that they hear. And maybe it's a reputable source and maybe it's a fantastic, well-known person doing a podcast, but often people are taking advice from their neighbor or like people who literally don't have any background in that thing.
Right. They're talking about their experience of it, which is, while it is absolutely valid for them, it may not be the best thing for you, which is why, Kelly and I really like to do the DNA blueprints, because it can give us more of a direction on, is this something that is going to genetically meet you where you are or not?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So let's talk about that, Heidi. So you guys, in general, today we're going to spend a little bit of time about why knowing your DNA blueprint will make your health so simple. There is a lot of things out there. I think I'll use the word generic or common. There are themes that we all need to do, meaning we all need to like eat well, of avoiding sugars and trans fats, and we need to have a sleep routine, and we all need to move. But even within all of that, instead of guessing, the goal is to take the guesswork out of what is for you. So let's just start, because Heidi, there are so many tests out there. And I would ask all of you guys out there, throw down, like, have you had your DNA done? Because I bet a lot of you have.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so many out there and they are not all created equal.
So let's talk about that, Heidi. That's exactly a really great point. Because I think the most common one, because it's advertised, it's been around a long time, has been the 23andMe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The 23andMe was one of the first to do it. I mean, they kind of came out of the woodwork and people went, what are these people doing? And they really were the trendsetters, the first ones to even attempt to say, look, we can look at your DNA and it can tell us, how to do this and how to do this, and tell us so much more about you than just your genealogy, or your, how much Swedish you have in you.
Right.
You're right. And so they really were the forerunners, but it was a lot of data. They really didn't know and were not set up to give more actionable information. And that has just evolved through the years. And while they are giving more actionable information, there are other companies that have even taken it 5, 6, 7 steps further in that actionable information. And so it's about the data you get. There's a lot of fun facts. There's a lot of, okay, yeah, so what do I do about it? Right.
That
and it's
really
not personalized.
Yes.
Right. And it's not personalized.
I think a lot of us have gotten data over time and it just sits there.
Yeah.
And ultimately, the power behind, if it's synthesized in a way and it's put together, then you can take that information and actually apply it to your life. It's not, if you look at it on your own, or even a clinician's given a stack this big on their own, and we would have to go through it, it's even overwhelming to a clinician.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the movement, Heidi, that it kind of went from just data points to now these companies are really trying to help create a customer journey.
Mm-hmm.
And what you're seeing out there with that.
It's such a good question. Yeah, they are. There's so many companies now that are trying to create a customer journey, and that they can tell you how to eat, what vitamins to take, all based on your DNA and your genetic output. While it is helpful, while they seem quite personalized, it's a lot of broader strokes, or unfortunately, it's attached to a list of supplements, their brand, their creation. And so it's another step to a sales. Is it bad? Is it wrong? Not saying one way or the other.
Right, of course.
Right. But here's the problem is, really, is that best for me? And have you looked at all the components? It is to look at DNA and really look at it properly. You can't just go with, you have this SNP, single nucleotide polymorphism, this SNP, and create a whole meal plan or supplementation regime on it. You have to look at the pathways, because so many SNPs go down one pathway. They also can go down another pathway. And so you look at more pathways, and that's the difference from fun facts, from data and sort of information, to actually really personalizing it with you by looking at the pathways that they go into, where you have, let's pay attention to this top pathway because you have so many SNPs that correspond to this pathway. Does that help?
Yeah, you guys. So that is so great. And I think most of you are understanding SNP because you're hearing like, oh, I've got the, APO3. Oh, I've got the MTHFR. Oh, so these are words people are hearing. Those are only a common few. You guys, there's hundreds of them. But when Dr. Heidi is talking about pathways, let's go over kind of what that means, Heidi, because I think people are like, what do you mean pathway? Like a highway, like a pathway, like what are you referring to? So maybe we'll just talk about one or two and give people just some examples of, if many of these different SNPs fall within a pathway, then that becomes much more powerful than just the single SNP itself.
Absolutely. So the pathways, you have several pathways that they can go down. They can go down a cellular pathway. So we just look at the pathways that really pertain to your cellular health. What does that include? Detoxification, methylation, oxidative stress, and inflammation. Those are words and phrases we hear all the time.
Yes.
So if you knew your blueprint on what is your risk for those pathways, wouldn't you be like, oh, I can avoid poor detoxification by doing these strategies. I'm a poor methylator. What does that mean, right? How do I counteract that? So just looking at the pathway of cellular is huge. And it really, we can get down to the minutia. Then we can break it down to systems, hormone balance, mood and behavior, so neurotransmitter function, memory and brain, that APOE you were talking about, glucose and insulin, bone health, histamine overload, collagen and joint health. So those are all in looking at it a little bit further out, a little bit broader spectrum of systems. So we're looking at how your systems work. And then we go down to cardiovascular system. It's important to be really specific with that. What is your risk for overall vascular health, blood pressure, cholesterol, clotting risk? These are really important to know and to understand, to be able to do strategies to keep those genes from expressing. So let's stop here a minute, probably talking too much, but let's stop here a minute and just say genes don't determine our fate.
Yes.
We can have the worst looking genes, like, you got this one, you got this one. But it does not determine our fate. Our diet and lifestyle is what turns it on or turns it off. And we have the power, right, to do that. But knowledge is power, to be able to go and you do those dials and see which ones you want to wind down and wind back up through diet and lifestyle strategies.
Yeah. So Heidi, let's pause there for just a second. So I think what everybody needs to understand is your genes. When we even say, sometimes people aren't even understanding what that means to be turned on or off, or flipping the switch, or turning the dial. So just because you have a gene doesn't mean it's going to show up in your body, doesn't mean it's going to express itself. That just means that's what you have. And according to your lifestyle and diet and what you do, right? Are you really stressed? Are you eating poor? All the things that will determine, is that gene going to express, turn on? Ultimately, the goal is we have lots of genes in our bodies that are positive, that support positive health, and we want to keep those genes on, working well to the fullest. We have other genes, right? When we look at a blueprint and might go, eek, these are not genes I wish to have, but we have them. And we all have some that are not so great. Then those genes, how do we keep them silent? How do we keep them turned off? How do we keep them from expressing? So that's what you guys need to start understanding, is everything we do in our life and our world is giving our body information. And that information together is going to start having an impact on what those genes do. So that's what we say, that your genes don't determine your fate. You and your choices determine your fate. And it's really that simple. But in making those choices, going back to you, Dr. Heidi, when we look at these blueprints and we look at the SNPs, we look at pathways, we look at cellular systems. When you take a look at that, because I know the blueprint company that we're using to really help us map the most robust program for clients is 3x4 Genetics. And it really helps us as a clinician take the information, systemize it, simplify it to give actionable steps to the client.
Yeah, absolutely. There just isn't another company out there that not only provides all this information, but they provide a whole education platform for practitioners to really become good at it, and to understand it completely. They're always available. The teaching, the education that they give us is incredible. Otherwise, I just don't know how anyone really goes through these in great detail without that background of education and taking the time to do that. And Kellie and I have done that. And the more we do it, the more excited we get about it, because it just opens doors. Information opens doors and gives us capability of doing something about it.
It is really true. And I never really realized the power. And I'll be honest, my maternal grandmother, she died of cancer. She had breast cancer, and I was young but old enough to follow her whole journey in that time. And the surgical options and technology wasn't what it is today for her in those options. So because I loved health and wellness and liked science, I knew the likelihood of breast cancer. So as a young adult, I really thought I too would have breast cancer, because my maternal grandmother did. And the incidence and the likelihood would be high that I would. So I remember one day clearly going into the doctor and telling them, well, this is my biggest fear. And the guy's like, well, why do you think that? And I said, and we didn't even talk about your DNA blueprint. He just told me at the time, you are exercising regularly. You're careful with what you put in your body for nutrition. You seem to be managing your stress. You have a very good body weight, structure. You have no indications at all that you should go down that path. So wipe yourself clear that does not have to be you. And I was like, oh, okay, great. And that was my first reframing, really, even before all this DNA work was becoming very popular, right? Mm-hmm. So I started to go, well, then is other things my fate, right? Like men in our family have a lot of heart disease. Like my dad died of cancer. Then I started asking myself questions. And when all of this information was coming out for blueprints, I'm like, I'm all in. I want to know, because I'm just kind of doing Russian roulette with my health if I don't know. I think I'm doing all the right things. I could be spending thousands of dollars and all this time, and I'm not doing what's right for me.
Exactly.
Right? Like,
yeah, exactly. And that's what's, I'm sure we all sit around and think, oh my gosh, we all hear the story. My grandmother smoked and she drank and she lived to be 92, all this stuff. But there's the difference. Just because grandma made it doesn't mean we will. And if grandma didn't, or mom didn't, or whatever, it doesn't have to be us. Mm-hmm. We have an impact on how that progresses in our life, and how we age, and how robustly we live into that aging. And knowing your blueprint gives you the tool to do it, to go around those potholes, to jump over those hurdles that might get in the way, that might impede, that might show up if you don't do these strategies.
So let me ask you guys out there that are listening, if you knew you had a gene that you did not want to have, but you end up having it, you have two options, because a lot of people tell me, I don't want to know. Oh, Kellie, I don't want to know. If you know, either you keep living your current lifestyle going, well, I have it, so eventually I'll get sick and it's going to turn on, whatever that gene may be, okay? Or you say, whoa, I do have it. I don't want that gene to express and turn on. Therefore, these are the strategies to keep it off to the best of our ability today with what we know. Things can always change and everything. We're not ever saying like, then you'll never get it. We can't, that's can't not
predict
true.
That. Yeah.
Yeah. But now these are all the things I know to prevent this from turning on. Now that is so powerful to say, great, then I choose this. And it's just that simple. So yeah. I've really been able to do that in my life in some pretty key genes that I do not want to turn on. And I won't go into my genes today. Just what I do want to tell you guys is, if you met me, I was just on yesterday with a group of this accountability group that I'm in for some programs we're in. And she said, Kellie, what are you doing? Because your energy is just like infectious, and you emanate like this health, because they're in very different fields. They're in like nonprofit, and they're not in health and wellness at all. So it was very interesting. And I'm like, well, I love this. This is me. But if I didn't take care of what I know to be true about my genes to make sure these negative ones are not turning on, I like this about myself. I want to be like this. And I couldn't imagine not. I couldn't imagine being sick and not being able to show up well. So it's not even a choice to do it or not. It's kind of like in the morning, you guys. Is it really a choice to brush your teeth or not? I mean, when my kids were younger, sometimes it was for them. I'm like, whoa. And they're like, whoops. But for the most of us, there are certain things we do. Like, is it a choice that we eat throughout the day, or do we eat every day? How we eat and what we eat, yes. But do we eat? We eat. So if you can make decisions that are just like, oh, this is just part of my life. There's no decision fatigue. There's no what ifs. There's no, oh my gosh, I'm going to keep trying all these things. No need. There's just no need, Heidi, right? When you really know. So maybe when you really know, maybe you can give an example or two from some of your clients and their personalized blueprint you've helped them go through. That was just an aha moment. Maybe they were just struggling so much with weight or struggling with something, and it was like this big aha, and oh, now it can be so simple.
Yeah. I'm about to sneeze. Look into the light.
Right. Hold the show, everybody.
Excuse me. You hit it right on when you said about weight, because that's for women that they come in with that's the biggest struggle. And what we find out in the blueprint is a couple of key things. Do you recruit fat for energy effectively from a genetic point of view? If you don't, you know, that we're going to have to change the way you eat. Is exercise, what's your metabolic rate genetically? Do you burn through calories easily and quickly? And do you have a nice response from a genetic point of view, right, to exercise? So that's the thing. The women come in, they said, I'm working out hard every day. I'm doing boot camp. I'm doing 2-a-days, this and that. And then we look at their genetics, and it's not exercise. It's going to lose the weight. It's diet. And so we know direction. I'm like, get off your back, get off the treadmill and out of boot camp. It's actually only creating more oxidative stress for you, which is more inflammatory, which inhibits more the recruitment for fat for energy more, right? So you end up hoarding that fat because of this overtraining over here that's not working with your genetics. So these have been really aha moments for women especially. I've had a couple men in with it as well. And it's profound because we change their workout, we change the way they eat, and they start to lose the weight. They start to lose the inflammation. And that's the key, is like, you're not fat because you're not out there just eating bonbons and Twinkies. You're inflamed. And we do these strategies to reduce the inflammation, meet the genetic, but we never would have known this if we didn't do the genetic test.
Yeah, well, and I will out myself just a little bit is, you know, I found out that I do have obesity genes, which means I could gain weight, right? But the part that Dr. Heidi is just sharing with you guys is, if I gain weight, then let's look at the strategy for me of how I would lose weight. I, at rest, burn very, very little calories at rest. With exercise, guess what? I burn very, very little extra calories with exercise. And you're thinking, wait, that can't be right, Kelly. Like, when you exercise, you burn more. I burn a little more than at rest, but I don't burn much. So if I gain weight, what's my strategy going to be? At rest, I don't burn. With exercise, I don't burn. It would be diet. So don't you guys think that if you knew that, then you know, oh, weight's going to be something I really going to have to stay on and control, because should I gain weight, I'm really going to struggle to lose weight. And I also know from personal experience in my family, I've seen that time and time again, that's been a struggle. People have gained weight and really, really struggle to lose weight. And it makes sense now, because it's not, I think so many of us just from time are, quote, brainwashed that it's exercise. Just go work out harder. Just go work out more.
Yeah. Work out more and have less calories.
Yeah.
No, people, that doesn't work anymore. I mean, it might work, but it's not healthy. Let's just clarify that, right?
Yeah, that's so true. So true. So you guys, it's just, I really wanted to bring this to you because it can be so powerful if you choose to really seek this out. Do you want to follow it? Do you want to have optimal health? Do you want to prevent your risk of disease? You can know your roadmap, but you can't get a roadmap just taking any old test. And that's where there's this big misnomer out there, or even be careful if you're caught in some marketing schemes of programs, is you want to have it personalized and you want to have access, because it is not a, here it is, you're done at all.
Yeah.
And to go back to it, right, is also helpful.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, that's exactly what I was saying, is that as a practitioner, their genes aren't going to change, but how they express can change significantly. Mm-hmm. So, and anything new coming up, we can go back to the genes and say, wait a minute, you're experiencing what now? Let's check your genes, see what's going on there. We can always come back to the genes and see, has something turned on that we didn't realize? We can now do strategies to start turning that back off. It's a tool you can always come back to, because it's you. It's your unique blueprint, you guys. That's what's so cool, is once you have the blueprint, it's like once you build the house, unless you do construction and you forget to pull permits or something, the structure of the house is the structure of the house. Your genes are your genes. So that's a great point, Heidi, is as we go through life, maybe we have a loss of a loved one.
maybe we have a big job change that's super stressful, and all of a sudden something's changed in our health. That's, again, some genes have turned on. To be able to go back to that blueprint, take another look and see, and then go, oh, okay, you know what? We didn't really hit this strategy hard before because you were working well. We knew it could be a problem, but not necessarily. But however, right now, even though we thought maybe it wasn't going to be a big issue, now it is. So now let's focus on these strategies to get around this.
Yeah. And that, again, that's a great point, Kelly, because people say, well, how does a gene get turned on? I tell you what, the number one switch, stress. Stress, stress, stress. And we throw that word around and sort of put it on the side, like, yeah, I'm stressed. Kind of a badge of honor, kind of just, I'll acknowledge it, but I'm not willing to do anything about it. But that's the key. That's the trigger. If you get enough stress, enough inflammation going, these genes start to flip on.
Wow. I mean, really, I think the world is seeing it. There's so many leaders out there talking about stress, burnout. And so really making sure we're all being present, taking time, whether it's meditation, gratitude, mindfulness, saunas, like things that it was the badge of busyness for years. And it was like so cool to walk on that soccer field and talk with all the moms of how much did you do today? Right? Like, oh yeah, I did this and this. Oh, you share my day. It was like a big, who's got more on their plate? And it kind of was that, oh, really? Well, I have a full-time job and I travel teaching and I run this and that's really what our status was off of.
Yeah.
I think we're really getting away from that, which is what I love, right? And that's been part of my big transformation. And I think the world is starting to understand that it's no longer the hustle and grind, or your health is the number one thing at risk. And really, for all of us to be productive in life, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're a stay-at-home mom and you volunteer, you will only be as good in your job, profession, life as your health.
Yep. There's the gauge. Yeah.
It is the gauge. And so please, you guys, we really want to bring these messages of health that you are in control. But by knowing and understanding your DNA blueprint, things can be simple.
Yeah.
Really.
Things can be simple.
Things can be simple. Oh my gosh. Dr. Heidi, anything else just about like genes or blueprint that you just want to share with people? Because I still think people think it's either scary or why would I want to know it? And I'm hoping you guys now kind of understand, you get why you'd want to know it, right? Like stop playing Russian roulette with your health, why you want to know it. But I just think they haven't gotten enough data or information or understanding to really go, I really need to make this top priority. I should do this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, don't be afraid of your blueprint, because there's so many things we can wind down, so many things we can affect by diet and lifestyle changes. We didn't go through all the pathways. We had started on the pathways and we got all the way down to cardiovascular health, but there's that energy pathway, recruitment of fat. How well do you exercise? What exercise is the best exercise for you? Which I think answers so many people's questions, like how much should I exercise? And am I strong? Am I an endurance person? It doesn't mean that's the only thing you have to do, but you can formulate a balance. And it's all about that. It's where's the balance in all of this? And it has an activity. What's your injury rate? What's your training response? So these pathways are very effective. And then there are some pathways that can determine some of the nutrients that we are good at utilizing or not so great at utilizing. So we may need some more specific supplementation or an increase in food that will supply us with those nutrients. So lots of information, not only what you have, but also how to manage it. Mm-hmm. So that's your blueprint.
Oh my gosh. Well, I hope this inspires you guys to say, I want to take inspired action in my health. I do want to take control. And it is October, or maybe you're listening to this in November, December. I don't know when it will be that this comes across your way. But what I will say is don't wait.
Yeah.
Don't wait. Tomorrow's not a better day. New Year's isn't a better day. Your, pocketbook probably suddenly isn't going to be full of money if you think you need to wait for money. Take the chance on you, bet on you. And I know your health today, tomorrow, and in the future will thank you. And that's really what it's about, of what do you want your health to do in the future? And we can't back up time once time has happened.
Right.
So what you're doing now, leading up to the next 10, 20, 30, 50 years of your life, whenever that may be, is really important now. So then you have a whole lot less, if any, undoing to do as you age.
Absolutely. Make the investment in you. It's the best investment you could possibly have.
Oh my gosh. Well, for everybody, Dr. Heidi, where can people find you? We'll be sure that down below, they kind of know a little bit more about you, a little bit about the program that you run and understanding your DNA blueprint. And if you guys want to go through and really fully discover yours, we'll make sure all that information is below. But where's the best place people can reach out to you?
Yeah, you can go to my website. It's scienceofthriving.com. And just to connect with me, you can go to info@scienceofthriving.com.
Oh my gosh. Well, you guys, such a pleasure. I'm here to help, give guidance and support. You guys all know where to find me, also at kellielupsha.com. We're both on Facebook or Instagram or wherever you like to do your social. But we appreciate each and every one of you guys. And thank you for being here. And if you feel that this was helpful for you, definitely share this with somebody who you love and care about as well. So Dr. Heidi, it's a pleasure. Thank you. Thanks everybody for tuning in today. And we will see you next week.
All right. Thanks so much, everyone. Bye-bye.